Hello, welcome to Lunch with Andy.
No, it's product launch with Andy, not lunch.
Oh yeah, that's why there's no food here.
You got some corn.
That's good. So we've got lots of things to talk about. I'm excited. We have a bunch of new products, lots of pages and parts, and let's get to it. So what you got, Nathan?
I got a couple things. So first off, we've got the silicone wire, which is really great, super flexible. A lot of the top teams use this, and we'll be selling it in packs of 25 feet of each color, so 50 feet. Yeah, it's really great wire for like making tight route runs. Like you can bend it and snake it through things, and it's just nice and versatile wire.
So what gauge do we have?
So we have 12 gauge, which is most common. That's just about everything on your robot. And then we've also got 10 gauge, which is slightly thicker, slightly lower resistance, better for real long runs and stuff like that.
Like an elevator or something.
Mm-hmm.
And with the high flexibility, you can run it through moving components like an elevator, like an arm joint, and stuff like that.
It flexes with it real nice, and the coating is really nice and tough. It won't strip off if it gets abraded.
Yeah, the flexibility is really nice in an elevator run, especially if you're trying to run like the smallest energy chain you can.
Yep.
I know that's something we've dealt with in the past by having low strand wire through an energy chain equals exploding energy chain all over the field.
All the time. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
We're excited to have this, and at a really affordable price point too.
Yeah, good.
So over here we have, I think, a product that nobody really knew existed. We have these, we call them 1.5 links for 25 and 35 chain. They take the place of those old style half links that have like the pin and the wire that Andy Baker has once told me that he's lost matches because of half links and you hate them. Well, you might like these a bit more. They have no pins. They have none of those stuff that falls out. You can attach it to chain with either a Dark Soul 25 or the ARC 35 chain break, or you can use 2 master links on each end as well. I actually have a hard time finding the link in the 35 chain because it blends in really well. That this one was assembled with no master links whatsoever. It's a lot nicer whenever you need a half link in your robot without sacrificing strength in that spot. Sometimes you really need it. You need to take a half link in or out because things didn't quite line up where you wanted, so It's a much more durable solution. Yeah, these end up being the same width as the standard chain in the middle where that little half link is, so you almost don't know it's there. It's great.
I've seen the 25 series before, but I've never seen the 35 series before, so I'm glad that we have it. Thank you guys. So Liz.
So here we have the anodized female rod end that goes on the end of a pneumatic cylinder. So this threads right on to the end of the cylinder, and we've actually used this on our team quite a bit. It's just really useful for mounting purposes and easily mount and secure your pneumatic cylinder to whatever part you need to actuate.
It's nice and lightweight too, right? That's the point of it being
Yeah,
aluminum.
this one is, some of the other ones are solid steel and really heavy. This one's anodized aluminum, so it's lightweight, easy to use.
I like the robustness of this one. I've seen plastic versions also that are super light, but maybe a little too light for what we need. Also, if a team wants to use a little jam nut in there to vary the position of those things, it's nice to put a little 1/4-28 jam nut.
And those are great when you need to connect a cylinder somewhere that's not quite planar with its mounting surface because the bearing moves a little bit instead of just a straight style one. It's a lot more forgiving and really robust.
Neat. Thanks, Liz. Nathan, what you got?
So we were looking to resourcing our hex bore collar clamps, and we said we can come up with a better collar clamp than what we're currently selling. Had the 832 screw in the old one and some arbitrary width. So went back to the drawing board and came up with this. So it's got a 1032 socketed cap screw.
Nice.
You can use the same driver you've been using everywhere else.
And you can actually, this 1032 screw in there is the same one that has been historically used in the kit of parts chassis as well. So if you lose that screw and you have a bunch of those laying around in your drawer, you just replace with the same screw.
Yep. You could even replace it with a longer screw if that's all you had on hand. It's fully threaded all the way out, so as long as it doesn't have a shoulder on it.
That's going to save teams tons of time.
The other improvement we came up with was it's now exactly 1/2 inch wide, so you can use it in place of 1/2 inch spacer or something like that if you want to just swap them in and out. And it's got little bosses on both sides so that you can run it against the bearing and it won't rub. The old style would rub on the inner race and the outer race, one of which was rotating, one of which wasn't, so you would get wear marks and friction and stuff. So.
Or you'd have to put in a little washer in there.
Yeah.
When you're in a hurry and you disassemble and reassemble, you lose the washer.
All your
like,
parts
oh,
fall.
crap.
Pull the shaft out, all the parts fall down.
Between
this
finals
is-
match 2 and 3, that's what happens. Yeah.
So this is basically 3 parts in one. You got a spacer on both sides and a color clamp.
Nice.
It's fantastic.
We're really happy about it. And I believe you've priced it cheaper than any other half-inch export collar clamp on the market.
Right. We're
fantastic.
pretty proud of that little simple collar clamp. Thank you. Wow. A bunch of new stuff just happened to appear on our table. Got lots of parts here. What's up with all these new sheet metal pieces?
So these are new gussets, and gussets aren't new in FRC. We've been using them for a long time. We have redesigned our gusset line a way that we think makes sense. So there's a 1-inch hole pattern that you'll see on these. There's a radii on here to help make the gusset a little bit stronger. It's also made out of 6061 aluminum and 1/8 inch thick. A lot of gussets are made out of 5052 aluminum. It's just a little bit stronger.
Sound like they're some of the heaviest duty gussets on the market.
We think so. These are great for FRC purposes and extruded aluminum as well. And Danny, maybe you want to talk a little bit about some of the extrusion we have here.
Yeah, we've got 3 new extrusions coming down the pipeline. We've had 2x1 16th wall for a couple years now, but now we're going to introduce 2x1 by 1/8 inch wall. So this is your real big heavy duty sort of application stuff. We keep with sort of our design philosophy of having a nice sharp corner. So if you're going to run, one of our elevator kits, along the side here, we've got some really good corners to really reference off of. But additionally to that, we also have 1x1 in both 16th wall and 1/8 wall. So, we've got all sorts of different solutions from, light duty, all the way up through now to a really nice thick heavy duty tube.
Now, these are pretty common extrusions, Danny. So why are we selling common extrusions?
Well, so we can have a few design features, that are specific to ours that make it really nice and handy for like an FRC sort of world. Again, the nice sharp corners are really nice. But also, we can get them in a nice good volume, so we know that we're going to have supply throughout the year. So we can be a reliable source for all those teams trying to get parts. And we can also, now work with, we've got our extrusion here, we've got our brackets, we've got lots of different opportunities for teams to build all that stuff that they're going to build above and attached to their kit chassis.
Nice. Thanks, Danny.
There's also a couple other interesting gussets on the table here, too. We have our Sport face mount gusset, which is really handy for, this is an output plug of a 57 Sport gearbox. It's really handy for mounting either 57 Sport or a Sim Sport or something gearbox onto some extrusion. So it's designed such that you can either use one of them and cantilever the whole gearbox. You can actually mount it such that the gearbox hangs over the tube to save some space. But this gusset and its sister gusset were actually designed at the same time. You'll notice they're the same shape here, these two gussets. This one's for the Sport, but this is a bearing mount gusset. It takes an 1 1/8 OD. You can actually make it really strong.
Like a pulley system.
Yeah, you can make a pulley system here, or you could use some other products we're going to talk about for making like an intake or something. Or you could even use 2 of these gussets by themselves and run a shaft at the other end of like an intake or something. Really, really great for single, simple shaft runs.
So Nick, what are those 4 holes around the bearing for?
So those are actually kind of a bonus feature. You can use these 4 holes with number 10 screws, button head screws specifically, and some nuts to retain the bearing in this plate. It's also designed for some aluminum 1-inch long standoffs that you could put 2 of these together and actually make a really strong bearing connection there by putting the flanges either inward or outward and hold them together.
But Nick, you got like one more bracket over there that you haven't talked about yet. What's
Yeah.
that? That's got 2 bearing pockets in it.
Yeah, so this is probably my favorite gusset we're coming out with.
Best for last.
Best for last. So this looks very similar to our 1 1/8 single bearing mount, the little flat plate with 4 holes. So this little bracket features 2 bearing holes that are spaced, or that are the right spacing for a 70-tooth 20 dp gear spacing. That you can maybe make something like a direction change gearbox with.
Huh.
I've actually got one right here. You can see there's a section of 2x1 box tube, the 1/8 inch variety, with one of the bearing plates riveted to the front of it. So those mount holes can either be 1032 or 3/16 rivets. Here we've got it paired 1-to-1, so 2 35-tooth gears. It's got a Sport on it and it goes through the tube and back out the other side. And actually, here's an application example for the 1/2-inch collar clamp. You can see it's riding right on a bearing, and there's no spacer in there, and it's quite smooth.
And you can make that entire assembly with a hacksaw and a hand drill.
Because the only precision holes are the ones in the bearing plate, and they're already done for you. Really nice because you can have your intake over here, and then you just turn the gearbox around so it's not hanging off the end of your robot.
You can do your large reduction out here, and you can fine tune it with this 70-tooth match over there.
But Nathan, there's one more thing that you've kind of got used in there. You've got a new shaft on the Sport gearbox itself too, right?
Yeah, it's pretty hidden actually. So normally this would only extend to the end of the box tube here, but to get it all the way out, we've got a new 2-inch shaft. So it comes with a 1-inch shaft. We had a 3-inch shaft previously, but now it's a 2-inch shaft, and it's a really easy switch. You just switch out this, or take out this snap ring here, slide the new shaft in, put the snap ring back, and you're done.
Easy.
That is a sweet little upgrade for the Sport Series.
Nice. All of this is very good. Is there more? Well, I'd say there's more. Look at all this new stuff. Gosh, Nathan, this is our Swerve and steer, but what's new about that?
Yeah, so we've got a couple upgrades here. So top down, now it's available with a Falcon motor out of the box as one of the 6 upgrade options. So the other options, so it'd be 2 motors, and there's now 3 encoder options. One is just the regular old PG encoder. The second one is the old MA3 encoder that mounts in these 5 slots here. It comes with the encoder and the gear, and it interfaces with this. We've got a new option now. So the third encoder option is this new hollow bore encoder from 221 Systems.
Nice.
So it's a much more compact option that is less expensive than the MA3, but still an absolute encoder. So you get all the same features with that.
Is it even in there?
Yeah, you can see it's
Barely in there.
a
Yeah.
sliver in there, and it reads off of a magnetic ring that's on the driven gear there.
And that's directly on the steer gear, right? So now, instead of dealing with lash through a gear train, it's right on where the module actually
it's
is.
exactly on the part that's moving.
Awesome.
Okay, it also interfaces with Talon SRX with this data cable that's included, so you just plug it in and you're good to go. We've got now a needle bearing in here instead of the bronze washer, so that's going to give a much longer life to these, as well as a ball bearing in the driven gear here. So no more bushings anywhere in the module. Everything is bearing driven.
So in addition to the ball bearings, there's a new 12-tooth power shaft, right?
Yep, the shaft that rides in those ball bearings is this new gear shaft with the Falcon spline bore in it. So you can see this just plugs right in, and that eliminates all the keys from this system as well. So.
That's nice.
So continuing to move down the module, we've got some upgrades to the drive shaft as well. This is now a shaft with 2 tapped ends and no more snap ring grooves.
Fantastic.
So everything is located with spacers and fully captured with washers and button-head screws. So that'll prevent this from flexing out under real high loads.
And that's directly from customer feedback. We had some people tell us last year, especially last year, that they were starting to see a little bit of flex in the module that was causing either the bevel gears to basically double stack on each other, the teeth would stack, or they'd wear pretty quickly because the module was flexing. So that should eliminate that completely.
So this is great. Thanks, Nathan, this is really good continuous improvement on a current product to make it better and better. Good job. So these are pretty shiny.
Yeah.
New hubs.
These are our new hubs. So AndyMark has been selling, and you can fact check me on this, but the Wayback Machine has told me that we've been selling hubs since 2006, starting with that universal hub. And over the years, we've built on that product line, adding different hubs for different motors and shafts that have appeared in the market. And because they were designed at different times, they're all kind of different.
Yep.
So we decided that now is a good time to clean slate the hubs and make some new ones. So these are a brand new design, still that same legacy bolt circle that we see everywhere in sprockets, gears, wheels in the marketplace, but they all have this interesting flower pattern. And this pattern is very similar to the pattern used on the 500EX hub, except it has closed holes, which some of our customers really like, the strength of that closed hole. That pattern is intended to key into the 42-tooth pulley. Nice click fit there. It's been used since the 2013 kit of parts drivetrain.
Okay.
So that pattern now available on all these hubs. Teams have buckets of these pulleys
Right.
from old robots and drivetrains. So now they can actually make good use of them with any of the hubs that we sell that work with a shaft.
So what different shaft options do we have with these new hubs?
So they're available in 1/2" and 3/8 hex, a 3/8 key. There's actually a surprising market for the 3/8 key ones, and also a 5/8 key. We also have 2 interesting, not quite, shaft bore ones. We have a new bearing hub as well. This replaces AM 160 and 161.
Okay.
So this will be available just as a hub, and you're saying, oh wait, it's just a hub, no bearings. The reason we're doing this is because there's a lot more bearings now that you can put in it, because this is sized for an FR8 bearing.
Right.
And these are designed such that a team can install the bearings in their shop. It's just a nice thumb fit. You can either lean on the table a little bit or just very gently tap with a block of wood. It's not like the old tight fit from the previous hubs.
Right.
So we have one here with 2 1/2" hex bearings in it, and it spins really nice. So there's like no real significant preload on the radius of those bearings. So they're really a much nicer solution for bearing hubs. And we also have this blank hub. So this we used to have a 1/4" bore hub that was used for many years, which became the blank hub with a little dimple on it. This is the same general philosophy with a little 1/8" dimple on the backside, but this is designed to be the exact same outer body features as our 1/2" hex hub.
Sure.
So this provides a lot of a good blank canvas for maybe some of the weird shaft sizes that something custom you want to make, or you could turn it into a hex hub in a pinch as well, because it's got the same bosses and such.
Now, if my eyes don't deceive me, it would appear that the same boss that's on these hubs was on that 1/2" hex collar clamp from a little bit earlier. So
That is correct. We were actually designing these hubs and that collar clamp at the same time. All of the shaft hubs have a little bearing boss on them that is sized for whatever mating bearing they go in. So the same about 3/4" OD boss is available on a 1/2" hex hun, the same size as the collar clamp, and there's also appropriately sized bosses on the other sizes too. Would be sized great for a 18x9 bearing. And you'll notice that there isn't one on the 5/8 key one. It's because the nose is actually already the right size for the a 5/8 bearing.
bearing.
Yeah. So all of these have a boss on them, so you can run them right up against the bearing and not have to deal again with frustrating spacers on your robots.
I like how the bearing hub is now recessed, so
Yeah.
the total profile is 1 inch thick.
Yeah, that actually is a good point. All of these hubs are 1 inch thick, so it's nice and flat there. They all are the same body size, all designed to be the same kind of design language, right? The last thing they all share in common is they're all now 70-75 aluminum. We used to use 60-61, and some of our extruded ones were like 6105 and 6005. These are much stronger than our previous hubs.
Right.
So these are a really, really great, strong hub at now, I believe, a lower price point than we were previously selling them. So you'll also notice that on all of the shaft hubs, except for the 5/8 key one, the nose shoulder got smaller. This means that the nose no longer interferes with any of our plastic wheels. They're all nice and easy fit. We still keep that 1 1/8" locating boss, which actually fits nicely right on this new wheel that Andy has.
These hubs fit a wheel hub really nicely, as Nick said. But as you notice, this is a new wheel for us, a new tire. So we've not had a 6-inch tire and tube until now. We've made a hub for the 6-inch tire over the years. Now we're finally happy that we found a tire and a tube that fits this hub. And this thing is crowned on top. It has really good traction forward and backward. It lets you skid sideways a little bit better than some square versions out there. And we've done a lot of testing. I think you guys have done a lot of testing with beating this thing up, and it's been pretty successful.
Yeah, we actually had a drivetrain that had 4 Falcons in it when we were evaluating that product a few months ago. And we beat the heck out of these wheels. We jumped off with a full, actually an overweight drivetrain. It's like 175 pounds or something. Yep. Jumping on and off of, well, we'll see in 2020. But jumping on and off, had two a lot, doing lots and lots of drive time on them, and we were also able to push a team like wooden cargo ship around around our testing facility as well, which was actually kind of funny. The carpet was super mad about it, but the wheels looked fine. There was no real blistering on the tread, and I would still run them. I'd run them any day.
Cool.
Yeah, we found that you can vary the inflation pressure and get a different contact patch. If you're worried about the crown not having enough patch, you can just deflate them a little bit and to get much more traction.
Cool. I'm happy about it. So, speaking of wheels, looks like we have some new performance wheels over there. What's going on, Danny?
So I'm a big fan of extrusions. And so a while back we switched our performance wheels over to an extrusion, and so that gave us the opportunity now to start playing around with the idea of making wider and wider wheels. So you can see we sort of tested with a 2-inch wide wheel. We made some prototypes of an 1.5-inch wide wheel, and we really came to find that like the 1.5-inch wide wheel was sort of the right fit for what we were doing. And so we are really excited to now be launching 1.5-inch wide versions of our 4-inch and 6-inch aluminum performance wheels, and we also have the bluiest of blue nitrile tread in 1.5-inch wide for the utmost in top tier traction and performance. So we have the wheels with both a bearing bore and we have them with a 1/2-inch hex bore. So lots of different options depending on how you're going to configure your drivetrain. And we're really excited to bring these out. And as is a common theme here, the Boss on the 1/2-inch hex wheel is back, as it is with many of these other products here, so that it is really well integrated with the whole robot package.
One of the reasons we kind of put the 2-inch wheel aside is because we really wanted to keep the actual like hub thickness the same between the inch wide and our larger offerings.
Yeah.
And we found that it didn't look quite strong enough that we would start dimming, like teams may start denting the ends of the wheels if we kept that thickness the same. We really wanted them to be as replaceable as possible. So maybe in the future, if there's significant demand, we'll offer a thicker one of these. But for now, the 1.5-inch wide we think is all teams are really going to need.
And if a team really wants to do a 2-inch or a 4-inch or an infinite number inch wide wheel, we sell the extrusions by themselves, and they can do that.
Infinite in 1 foot increments, right?
Yes. Now, as Nick said, we do still sell the 1-inch wide performance wheels. They're still on the market. We're just adding another 1/2-inch as an option. Okay. That's it for part 3.
Whatever could be left.
Part 4, I think.
Part 4.
Yeah.
Part 4. All right.
It's one better than part 3. This is a lot of stuff here. So, Nathan, start off. What do you got?
All right. So a few minutes ago, we told you about the 2-inch sport shaft that easily swaps into the output plug. We've now got whatever length you want shaft, the female hex output shaft. So this swaps in just as easily, and you can mate any length of hex shaft for, say, an intake or some long run, whatever you're doing. Just swap the shaft out with the E-clip, and
Nice.
you're good to go. It's actually 2 parts, so there's screws around the perimeter here that hold this separate plug on. So if you're so inclined, you could machine your own plug for whatever shaft geometry you want. Swap that out. This one has 2 set screws to hold the shaft axially. Obviously, the hex does the torque transfer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That might be the cleanest solution you can get, or simplest solution you can get for like an internal conveyor now. I know we talked about some other things you can use for it, but I really like that for I need to have this shaft in the middle of my robot, and there's a motor now.
Yep.
That's really nice for that.
Yeah, just kind of plug and play. Which actually segues nice into putting it onto a Falcon Sport gearbox. So we've had the Sim Sport and the 57 Sport for 500 series and 700 series motors. Now we've got the Falcon Sport. So it uses a plate similar to the thin Sim Sport plate, so it's about 1/8 of an inch thick, and the motor just plugs in when using the short shaft. So we've got our new spline bore gears for the Sport input. So we'll have the gears sold separately as well as the plate if you want to upgrade your current Sport gearbox to a Falcon Sport. It's just those 2 parts, as well as a short shaft that you can buy pre-assembled in the Falcon. We've also got this mounting plate. So a lot of teams have asked us for better mounting options for the Sport. We came out with the Gusset earlier.
Yep.
Bolts onto the 4 tapped holes on the bottom. It works with either the longer 1-inch square or even the 4-to-1. You'd use the 1/2-inch square here. But that gives you two holes that are easily accessible when this is face mounted. So you can see it spaces it off so the Falcon doesn't interfere with the 2x1. And you can easily get to these holes once it's attached, because you can't obviously get to those
Right.
since it's
And
face down.
you can go all the way up to a sim as well. It's sized for the full 2.5-inch sim motor to
Yep.
not interfere with the mounting plane, right?
Same with the current spacer we have, but this one's got kind of wing spacing.
Right. So with this part now, there's 3 really good direct mounting options for our Blue Sport gearboxes that require no precision machining at all.
Yep. You just bolt this up, and you can match drill. It's quite thick, so match drilling is not a problem at all. And put it wherever you want.
That's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
It should be really easy for teams.
Good job, Nathan. Thank you.
Thanks. And Liz has some more sport-related products as well.
So in addition, we're selling a 4-to-1 add-on stage to the Sport gearbox. So this will work with the Sim Sport, 57 Sport, as they all have a 4-to-1 input. This will add an additional 4-to-1 input stage, so you can add on reduction as needed.
So now you can get like a 400-to-1 in a single inline package, but you got to be careful with that, right?
Right. So this is not an output; it's an input. That's what you're saying.
Yep, this will fit on the input side and add 4-to-1 reduction onto any Sport gearbox.
So this is an 80-to-1. This would turn it into a 320-to-1. But as Nick said, you got to watch the final load capabilities of that gearbox, because 320 might put a whole bunch of torque on that last stage, especially if it's a Falcon or a Sim or a high load motor.
Maybe even a dual motor input as well. You could, go 4-to-1 past the 325-to-1 there. You get the speed you want, but you really have to watch the load ratings. It's very, very possible to exceed them, and you'll fail the output stage if you well exceed those.
All right, thank you, Liz. Good job. So we got things over here. What's going on?
So the number one phone call that has come, at least to my desk, is what products are we going to have to support the Falcon 500? Right. And we're happy to announce that we're going to have a variety of gears and some other products available for this brand new motor. The one I think we're going to see the most usage out of is our 14-tooth 20 DP spline board gear. This is the gear that is used primarily in the Toughbox Mini, the Toughbox Micro, and most ratios of the Toughbox Classic gearbox. So this gear will make it really easy to convert your Toughbox Minis from motors that have 8mm keys to using this brand new Falcon 500 motor. Right. But we have a couple other 20 DP gears as well. There's this 12-tooth gear, which you may recognize from the Simple box. But teams actually use this 12-tooth gear in a lot of custom applications where they want to squeeze a little bit more ratio or a little bit more reduction out of their first stage inner gearbox. So this little 12-tooth gear, perfect for that. We'll have that available, but I think there's some teams who are going to be very happy to see this 16-tooth 20 DP gear. This gear, the 16-tooth gear, we've had in a couple other different bores, but this year we're launching both a spline bore for the Falcon 500 as well as an 8mm key version for this that is really useful in some Swerve drive products that have become really popular in the last year. So this will make either custom applications or that Swerve product really easy to use with both 8mm keyed motors as well as this Falcon 500 motor. But I think the individual call that I've gotten the most to my desk is, are we going to have pinions for our Evo family of gearboxes? And the answer is yes. We do have a 15-tooth 32 DP gear that is the same size gear we use in both the Evo Slim and the Evo Shifter gearboxes. That makes it a bolt-on solution to put a Falcon motor into either an Evo Slim. It also fits into an Evo Shifter as well. So nice bolt-up fit for a much smaller, much more powerful motor package. This is shown in a 3-motor version. You could put 3 Falcons onto a 3-motor shifter and be able to push the world with it, but you probably only need 2 of these really powerful motors.
Sure.
So it's a nice, easy bolt-on solution. I'm really, really excited that we're going to have this gear. And also there's one more products we have as well, in addition to the 16-tooth gear that goes in the sport gearboxes that Nathan already talked about, is our half-inch hex adapter. Now this little adapter, it's half-inch wide, like most half-inch hex, double boss gears that exist in the market. This lets you use a lot of your existing inventory of gears in primarily a custom application or maybe some other things that are coming down the pipeline. This little half-inch hex adapter lets you use a lot of things you already have.
So it's you don't have to only use half-inch wide items. The spacers that come with the Falcon are half-inch OD, so they can help pilot those items on as well. So you just put your spacer stack up with that in the center, and you can put your hub or your wheel or whatever you want on there, and everything is captured with the button head screw.
Right. Cool. There's plenty of material there to support that. That sounds like this is a really great product for a lot of things that already exist in the marketplace. It's really exciting.
Makes everything backwards compatible.
Yeah.
Well, there's tons of teams who have invested a lot of money in Evo's single speed or double speed, and I'm really happy that you guys have made some products. They can use the Falcon with either one of those gearboxes. So thank you and good job. So is that all? Actually, it was a lot, so I'm kind of kidding. But are there more things coming maybe at kickoff?
We actually only showed off a few of our favorite products from this release. There's over 70 products that are available on the website now, most of which are in stock or will be in stock very soon. This is only a taste. Definitely going to want to go check out the AndyMark website to see all of our new favorite offerings that are available to teams. But you're right, we are going to have another release on kickoff day as well for some game-specific related items and maybe some other interesting things as well.
That's 72 spacing. I mean, 70 new products seems very familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's next month.
Actually, we can't talk about any of that yet. That's still under wraps.
Darn it.
Hey, but did you guys bring your lunch? I brought mine.
We were told this is launch, not lunch.
I like lunch. I like launches too, but I like. Hang on a second. Thank you for joining us for our launch program. Good luck, and we'll see you at the competitions. It smells nice too, from what I hear.
It's lovely. It has a very nice burnt vanilla pudding smell.
Not as the kid.
That was worse quality.
It's done. That was done.